Hi everyone, I'm Pari. Welcome to Living Your Best Life with Eddie Stone, founder and CEO of Touchstone Essentials. Hello, Eddie.
Hello, Perry. Happy holidays to you.
Oh, thank you. Happy holiday to you too.
Yeah.
Okay, Eddie. So today, what are we going to talk about?
Well, today we are going to talk about holiday eating and basically how to survive the month of December. Although for those that are in the US, we should say how to survive the month of December and the month of November because we have our Thanksgiving holiday. We just had it last week and there's just food everywhere and it's really good food. And then everybody wants to celebrate and go out and have some food or a drink or something. So it's pretty easy to get off track. And then for a lot of, at least where I live and a lot of the US, it's also a cold period of time.
Mhm.
So you're putting on some extra clothes and you know how when you're cold, right? You eat a little bit, maybe makes you feel a little bit better. And so really, if you've been working hard on your diet and your weight control and your healthy living, it's easy to get off track on the holidays. In fact, I partly picked this subject because I need to make a confession. So my brother hosted our holiday festivities last week, and he decided he wanted to do it in a place called Charleston, South Carolina. And so for those that maybe know the United States, it's a city that's just filled with hospitality and just tremendously well-rated, warm restaurants, but it's pretty heavy food. In fact, my wife and kids, we were at a restaurant, and one of the things they were famous for was a coconut cake. And I don't know if you've ever had coconut cake, and I kind of like coconut cake, but I've never really thought about it as a specialty. And so we just ordered one serving of coconut cake, but it was almost a third of a cake. And so you just everywhere you go. And it's one of those things where it gives you some forks and it sits in the middle of the table and everybody's just supposed to have a bite or two. But next thing you know, you're having more than a bite or two. It's so fantastic. Even the dressings for the salad and just whatever it was really good. So I sort of forgot some of my strategies that I've put together years ago, really, to sort of survive the holidays. And you know, one of my particular thoughts is, and if for those that want to take some notes and kind of make a list of this, one of the things I'll tell you right up front is I believe you should just think about trying to maintain your healthy habits as much as possible, maintain your weight, but it's not the time of year to declare you're going to be on a diet because that's just going to be frustrating and really not just frustrating for you. I know, for example, when I'm around my mom or other family, you know, they want you to eat with them, right? It doesn't do you very good when you go over to your families for a celebration dinner to say, you know what, I'm not going to eat today. I'm trying to watch my weight or I'm trying to lose weight. And so I think that's one of the things where you can wind up setting yourself up for failure. So one of the first tips I would have is, hey, enjoy the holidays. Think about it in terms of maintaining, but now is not the time to declare that you're going to lose weight.
Mhm.
Have you had this experience before, Perry, where you go to a family celebration and
Of course, we
your
can't
belly
deny them.
gets full?
Yeah, I understand very well.
When I was younger, I would wear, I hate to admit this, but I would wear sweatpants because they were elastic. So I could really enjoy it. So that's probably too much of a confessional. So
I think
let's
everybody goes
talk about
through
our little list here.
this.
Uh, so the first thing I would say to folks is eat before you go somewhere. Sort of one of the worst strategies you could have if you're going to a place with good food, whether that's a restaurant or someone's home, particularly if you know and you're really anticipating the favorite dessert of your aunt or the favorite casserole that your mom makes, like a green bean casserole is one of those things I really love. And so I try to think about that. She always makes a spinach dip, and man, I can eat my weight in spinach dip and crackers, right? So it's good to eat ahead of time, even though that may sound counterintuitive. If you walk in completely hungry, you're probably in trouble just right from the start. So one of the things I tell people when I talk to about these strategies, eat before you go, right? It's one of the most important things. And if that eating before you go can include some protein, then that's a big deal because protein, particularly if it's the right kind of protein, can help to balance your blood sugars. If you go on an empty stomach, the way your body works when you're anticipating a big meal, you're excited about it, your blood sugars will drop. And so you actually find yourself actually wanting to eat more than you probably would normally just because of the excitement. And then once that happens, those blood sugars, when they spike like that, the body makes too much insulin, and you kind of get this bad process and bad cycle in terms of blood sugar control. And so eat before you go. And for me, I'll tell you right up front, I rely heavily on mixing our super green juice and our organic super protein because of the fiber, plant-based protein, the fiber, and the greens really will fill you up, but it's not too many calories, right? So I don't feel like I've had a full meal. And so that's one of my strategies anytime I'm going out someplace where I anticipate a really great meal. So that's sort of the first thing I would suggest. The next one is to make sure you stay hydrated. And one of the reasons that this is important, particularly this time of year, is very often people in the holiday season, no matter where they're at, they drink a lot. They drink a lot of alcohol. They're drinking beer, or they're drinking special cocktails, eggnog, or whatever it happens to be, or wine. And that can help you, that would actually cause your body to dehydrate if you're not being conscious of it. You can get to drinking and sort of forget to drink water. And so if you know you're going to a holiday party, trying to focus that day on staying well hydrated is a good strategy, because oftentimes people will confuse hunger pains, or they'll think they have hunger pains when it's really that they're thirsty. Mm-hmm. So if you've eaten, say, a small meal before you're going out, just like I just described as a strategy, and you're drinking 8 to 12 ounces of water with that meal, then you've really set yourself up for some success. And so staying hydrated, eating ahead of time, good strategy. One of the others is to think about what you eat, particularly during the holiday season, with the excitement and the fun of seeing friends and family, or even if people are drinking. You know, I've seen situations, and this is true of myself as well. I can't even remember what I ate. You know, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so full, but there was so much. I really didn't pay close enough attention. So that probably means I ate too fast on top of things, right? Got a little excited about the moment. And so trying to stay a little bit mindful about food, staying conscious and in the moment is a good strategy. And one of the ways you can do that is to try to be deliberate with how you chew and you taste food. So if you can make sure, like, somebody's prepared a special appetizer or whatever it may be that someone has when you go into their home, you can take a moment to say, you know, savor it, look at it, smell it, eat it, chew it well, so you can comment to the host or whomever made it about what that was like and what it tasted like. And what's interesting about that whole experience will just really cause you to eat less because of several reasons. One of which is that when you eat, it takes about 20 minutes for your stomach to send that signal to the brain that, hey, we've eaten, we're in pretty good shape here, we don't need to keep eating. But if you're just eating sort of super fast and unconscious and not being so mindful of what you're doing, you wind up overeating and not even really try to think about it. So that's one of the strategies that I believe in, is to make sure you do that. And another one that can work, particularly if you know you're going to be somewhere where it's an all-day celebration. I've got a friend that I work with. His name is Jeff, and I've known him since I went to college. So I've known him a very long time. And his family's Lebanese. And when I used to have a chance to go to his house when we were younger, during the holiday season, his mom, gosh, she was just this great cook. And she would have all of these wonderful things like baklava and other sort of pastries that you associate with the Mediterranean. And, you know, if you weren't careful, because you were going to be there a while, you know, you could eat too much when you first got there, right? And then all this habit builds. And so one of the things I've discovered is that if I eat some, but then I take a break, you know, I pause, I walk away from the food, I go to some other place in the house or wherever it happens to be to take a break. And then, you know, 20 minutes later, that whole thing I talked about with the signal from your brain kicking in, right? You give yourself a little bit of strategy to not overeat in the moment. Plus, you probably get to enjoy more of a variety of food. And you can also, if you're not careful, kind of look like a little piggy when you go in if you're just hovering over the food and eating, right? So you've probably never had that problem, but I have definitely caught myself being a little bit of a piggy around all the food. So
I think everyone go through this, Eddie.
I think so too. One of the other things that I think can be good is to look for foods that have a really distinct taste, sort of something that's strong, not bland. For me, that's things that are spicy. You know, whenever I get the chance to spice the food up, I'll do that because it, you know, really makes an impression, right? There's a certain satisfaction when you're eating, really, if it's particularly spicy. And I've had some Thai spicy food before, so I know you know what I'm talking about. I'm not even sure I could really stand full Thai spice. When I order it in the States, I always say medium. Medium's enough. But spicy food or things with very distinct flavors, sharp taste, savory, not so much things that are sweet or things that are rich, because they don't make as much of a mouthfeel or an impression. And so spicy food is always a good sort of strategy and a way to go. And then the final thing I would say to someone is, it's the holidays. Reimagine and rethink and reframe. Just like I said, you know, now is not the time to declare that you're going on a weight loss program. If you do find that you've sort of messed up or fallen off the wagon, is what we would say here, it's okay, and reframe that and don't call it a failure. You know, you just say, well, I didn't do as well as I intended last night, but now I've got another holiday party at my neighbor's tonight, so I've got a chance to redo this. And each day when you wake up and that sun hits your eyes, right, it's a chance to start again. And so rethinking that so you're not beating yourself up, because I don't think when you're trying to develop new habits, I don't think I've ever seen any situation where beating yourself up is helpful. In fact, I think that's demoralizing. And so find your small victories. If it means that you only went back to the buffet table 3 times instead of 4, or 2 times instead of 3, find your moments to celebrate. If you found that normally you get your own dessert, but you were able to share one with your spouse or your friend or your cousin or whatever, look for opportunities like that to feel good about yourself and reinforce what you're trying to accomplish. It'll make a big difference. And so just to kind of give a review, number one, let's just try to maintain and not declare that we're trying to lose weight. Let's eat before we go and make that as healthy a meal as you can. It makes sense. Stay hydrated. The hydration thing is a big deal. Being conscious of what you're eating, right? Not eating too fast, you know, take the time to savor it and chew it, compliment the host, right? If you have something, the host serves something and you eat it and you like it, pause, go find them and say, oh my gosh, I love this, right? Anything you can do to sort of pause the moment, because if you can take a break as you're eating, spread it out, you let your stomach catch up, that 20-minute rule I talked about, small portions. Even if you're going to fill that plate up a couple more times, it's so much better than having the big plate. If you're at a table and there's a small plate choice or a big plate choice, take the small plate, right? Even if you do it twice, you'll be better off long-term. And then finally, if you do overdo it, don't beat yourself up, right? Let's be positive. It's the holidays. Let's enjoy. We've got all of January to refine our inner healthy self.
We have another full year, right? To control our diet next year.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, if you do 11 months out of 12, not so bad. Not so bad.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but to be conscious, you know, before you go to the party or celebration, I think, with me, okay, like eat before going never work with me. Even I eat before, once I go, I'll eat again, you know, because
Okay.
of the food and friends and people around, you know.
Yeah.
It's time to celebrate, so.
Yeah, and what's important about all of these things we talk about on the show in terms of tips or suggestions or things to watch out for, you got to do what makes sense for you, because we're not all built the same. You know, these are pretty common ideas and strategies I picked up over time, but they may not. Just like you said, eating before doesn't work for you. That's okay.
Uh-huh. But the thing is, you know, like even when you eat a lot, but once everything is finished, you know, you have time for yourself to get back to your diet too. It's not never too late.
Yeah, and another thing that I've sort of noticed, particularly where I live this time of year, it can be a little cold, right? And so people tend to exercise a little bit less. You know, they're not in the mood for it. They've gone to a party. They've got a party coming up. And if you can figure out a way to do some movement, maybe it's just walking. Maybe it's, you know, if normally you just walk the dog around the house, maybe you walk the dog around the neighborhood or whatever it happens to be, so that you can increase any way possible your movement along with these other strategies. I feel pretty confident people are going to come to the holidays having had a good time, but not sabotaging all their work over the course of the year.
Yeah. Just enjoy holidays, no? Be happy.
Be happy. That's right. That's right.
Uh-huh. Okay, Eddie Stone, thank you very much for being with us today again for very great tips for holidays.
Yeah, happy to do it, Pari, and certainly appreciate everybody's time and attention that we've had this year. We'll have at least one more show before the year is over, but certainly fun to have a chance to dialogue with everybody.
Okay, see you again next time, next show, Eddie. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Pari.